I chose this particular Venn diagram problem to use as a vehicle for introducing a notation that we haven't talked about yet. This problem asks us to choose the set that matches the diagram on the right. In other words, in this shaded region, which one of these four choices represents that shaded region. What we've already talked about in the past tells us that we can think of this as the solution is mostly Q. It's mostly Q. But at the same time, it's the part of Q that's not in the circle D. It's not included in circle D. And we've written this in the past as Q and D complement. Mostly Q, or in this case all of Q, at the same time not in D. So essentially think of this as the part of Q that's not in D. We've done that before. But as you see, none of the answer choices match that. So there must be another way to write it. And this is where the new notation comes in. I haven't talked about this yet. One way of thinking about it is it's mostly Q, but you subtract off the amount of Q, or the part of Q that is in D, and we actually adopt that notation. So another way of writing Q and not D, or Q and D complement, is to say Q minus D. It's the circle Q minus the part of Q that's in D. And so that would tell you that the answer choice would be A. So I use this as an opportunity to introduce this new notation. And if it had been shaded with mostly D without Q, it would have been D minus Q. So the idea is very simple, but I had not talked about that notation before.